Hey, welcome to Social Media Hangout Time. I'm Janet Johnson, and I'm here today with Lisa Celine,
Hello, everyone.
and I'm here with our special guest, Gary Loper. Welcome, Gary.
Greetings, greetings. Welcome. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming on. Now, first,
pleasure.
I'm going to explain a little bit. We don't have Kimmy today. Instead, we have Lisa. So we have two of us that are going to be delving in to ask questions to Gary all about, we're going to be talking today, he's a big Twitter expert, but I also want to read his whole entire bio so that you really understand who Gary is, and then we're going to get into asking the questions. So Gary Loper, he is a recognized Twitter expert, as I just said, mindset coach, motivational speaker, trainer, former talk radio host, life and business coach, and highly respected entrepreneur, helping people master the business of life by building better relationships, which is absolutely critical in social media here. So in addition, Gary's strong background in marketing and sales and his 30-plus years of superior customer service and 15 years of direct sales adds more depth to who he is. He teaches his audience strategy and tactics on how to become successful to produce and maintain positive solutions, to stay in a positive mindset and attract and manifest true wealth. He empowers people to discover their hidden assets, develops confidence, and create better relationships with themselves first before creating life and business relationships. I already have a lot of questions for you just reading this. Also, you know, Gary's worked with some of the top coaches in the world, including Bob Berg, Laurel Langmeyer, and Eric Lofholm. And he's also the author of 3 ebooks, Master the Twitterverse, Guide to Getting More Followers, and 37 Keys to Building Better Networking Relationships, and 20 Secrets to Build Better Love Relationships. So welcome, Gary. You have quite a background in relationships.
Well, yeah, we've been studying it my entire life. You know, we always, we take from our lessons. And I think early on in my life, I saw some of the inabilities of relationships that was happening in my family.
Right.
And my parents really weren't equipped to be able to deal with a lot of things. So I started studying relationships on other people and looking at how to be able to model them. And it's just been a constant theme throughout my life. I'm always looked at how we're relating to one another, how we're relating to ourselves, how we relate to our environment, how we relate to our finances, our exercise. So we're always in relationship to something. And I think that's the magic key. If we work on building a better relationship with ourselves and get that mastery, we can be able to have better relationships with anything we choose to be able to bring into our lives.
You know,
Go ahead.
and too, you know, relationships are so key, and I see that a lot in social media. You know, so we're talking today about how do you stand out on social media. Well, I think if you understand relationships, it's a lot easier to have a voice on social media.
Yeah.
You know how to connect and communicate. So tell us a little bit about your theory with your relationships and social media.
Well, one of the things, social media has really leveled the playing field. So everybody has an opportunity to be able to play with the big guys, the little guys, and going through there. And one of my other clients had mentioned, she said that there's over 10,000 baby boomers who are no longer working every day, either by choice or by being pushed out. So that means there's 10,000 other people who have a lot of other experience, consultants. They can be able to do a lot of things in addition to everybody who's already here. So one of the things that we picked up from Bob Berg's teachings is his golden rule of business networking, which states that all things being equal, people are going to do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust.
Right.
A lot of people get that know, like, and trust part. But what I focus on, that all things being equal. So if, you know, I'm a life coach, I'm a mindset coach, and if there's 1,000 other people who are doing the same type of thing, what differentiates me from everybody else? Whether you're selling lipstick or juice or something else, the consumers are looking for a connection. They're looking for something additional that they can be able to tap into other than just a product. Because the days of the yellow pages or the Sunday newspaper where you see an ad and you run to the store and that was your only choice. They've got choices, and they're looking for something beyond just the purchase. They want more value. They want a sense of connection. They want to be able to belong to something better and bigger, which is going to be able to solve their current problems and may give them a path to be able to trust that you're going to be able to help them with their future problems.
True.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how did you? I mean, we met actually through Laurel Langmeyer through Twitter. You know, I was tweeting your little hashtag and that's how we connected. And then we had a lot of fun conversing on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us a little bit. How did you get started on Twitter?
Well, actually, it was through a Bob Berg event. Back a number of years ago, Bob and his business partner Tom Scott did a series of events over about 5 years called Extreme Business Makeovers. So it was a once-a-year event where they had a 2 or 3 day, motivation, bring in a lot of speakers. Well, there is in 2008, I think it was in April or June, there was a second Extreme Business Makeover. One of the speakers had said, hey, Twitter's this new thing, get on there and go figure out, and just get on. And Twitter had just started mid-2006, so it was just like a little over a year old, and it was just kind of stumbling, and people were trying to figure out what was going on.
Right.
And so I was just stumbling along with it and didn't really fully grasp it or see the potential until November of 2008, where I had lost income and emotional support. I was working as a massage therapist doing massage for people with disabilities.
Okay.
And the funding for that program was eliminated. They decided that the state legislature decided that massage wasn't necessary for people with disabilities. So 90% of the income, I'm an internal rewards person, so a lot of the emotional support that I got from that all went away. And I sort of fell into the couch. I got kind of blue, got into a funk, like, what am I doing? All these things were gone. And in a way to be able, one of the ways I used to be able to pick me up is I started studying personal development when I got introduced to Tony Robbins and Dennis Waitley through videotape when I went to school for my marketing degree back in '89. And I started studying every day at personal development. And I collected a lot of tweets. Well, they became tweets, but motivational quotes. So I had a whole library of them. And I'm going to start tweeting stuff selfishly to lift myself up, to get myself out of the funk that I was in. And what I found instantaneously was people were responding to those motivational messages. Great message, thank you. They had questions. And then I took that as a call from the universe saying, okay, Gary, that the coaching certificate that you got 10 years ago, it's time to be able to get that hat off the shelf and start wearing that, because that's what you're doing next. And then I just really saw that connection and being able to be available in tweeting with people and talking to them, and that was one of the things that differentiated me from other people who were coaching, is they were broadcasting. They weren't actually conversing with people and responding to what they were talking about. And so it's going on 6 years. My 6-year anniversary is coming up the first weekend in September on Twitter, and so I'm thrilled. And we've just grown and touched a lot of people's lives in a lot of ways. By just for today affirmations, people will always respond to them. And actually, this is the power of one tweet. So look at my blog post. Look for never underestimate the power of a single tweet.
Right.
And what happened was there was a young girl who was contemplating suicide. and she was ready to be able to take her life. And then one of my tweets, which was automated, so I didn't control it. I didn't say, okay, you're scheduled to go at this time. An automated tweet went out, and it touched her at a point where she changed her mind and said, okay, I'm going to work with the disease that I have. I'm going to help others be able to get through what they're going through. And so, it really resonated with me. It's like there's a lot of people we can be able to touch, whether we know it or not. I'm fortunate enough to know that I got that message and a couple other ones where I know that my messages have made a significant difference in people's lives and be able to help shift them. And I believe, I'm more motivated to share more of those messages because I know it's going to touch people's lives.
Right.
And I know that by doing that, I'm going to attract other people who are going to like the way that I'm doing business, like the way that I'm interacting, like the way that I'm serving. And they're going to be able to say, okay, Gary's here every day for 6 years. He's doing this in the same way. I know that I can be able to at least trust him a little bit to start the process and start working together. And I think that's kind of the formula, is go out there, go out and serve, go out and connect, be social, serve a higher good, solve people's problems. You'll attract people.
So, Gary, are you building like a prospecting list of targeted people that you would like to work with? Or maybe you want to, I see that you're a speaker. So are you connecting with people to help get you speaking engagements on Twitter? And if so, can you tell us a little bit about how you might be doing that?
Well, I'm reaching out to the people who are already connected to me, because I think one of the ways, the people that you already know. And I think this is you remember the story Earl Nightingale told, your acres of diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think our email list, our Twitter list, the people that we already have connections to, probably already have some introductions waiting for us, and we just have to let them know that it's available. I have some tweets that I put out there and say, have Gary speak at your next event, contact Gary. I put out all the radio shows and podcasts that I'm on, so those links are always there. So, it lets people know in a service way, say, okay, here's what I've done, and subliminally we're saying, bring Gary on as a speaker. But then I'm also starting to be able to reach out, and so I would go back, for example, I would go look at your tweet stream. And so one of the ways that you can be able to make a connection with that person of influence is to be able to get that introduction, is you got to be able to I got to let Lisa know that I'm watching her, that I'm available,
right.
I'm seeing things. So I'm going to go watch your stream. I'm going to put you on a list, and I'm going to start retweeting you periodically.
Right.
And letting you know subtly, say, oh, Gary retweeted me again. He retweeted me again. He retweeted me again. So that's kind of that, the dance that we do in the beginning of relationships. We just get to know each other. We're passing notes like in school, whatever.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, passing notes in school. That's about it, because you just got that little space to do that. That's fun.
And if you just start making those little connections and start getting, just refreshing them and say, oh, what's going on, and then gives you both a chance to be able to check each other out and be able to say, all right, what's going on? And then once you establish that relationship, you have something, then you invite them for a Skype call or a phone call and start exploring what you can be able to do. I think
Sure.
a lot of people are looking for the big splash right away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got this program. Let's get on there and bring me onto your list and let me sell my $5,000 program. Well, that's like kind of asking. That's asking for marriage. One of Laurel's things.
Mm-hmm.
It's asking for marriage on the first date.
Right.
Sometimes it does work.
Rarely, yeah. Well, it's old school marketing in a way. Yeah.
But what you want to be able to do is you need to be able to build that relationship, foster it, and it's like closing the deal on the first date may be fun and exciting on the first thing, but dates that take 5, 10, 15 dates to go through there before the deal's closed.
Yep.
is much more enhancing for both people. So when you start out doing something small. Start sharing each other's links on Twitter. Do a little highlight in your email on how you can be able to. Hey, Lisa's got a new program. Janet's got something that you need to be able to take a look at. And that way, you're doing a little small thing. See if it works out. See if you're both talking the same kind of language, have the same kind of ethics, and want to be able to continue working together before you take that next step.
Love it. Now, are you, Gary, you're talking a lot about Twitter, but could this pretty much be brought to any platform that you focus on, be it the Google Plus platform that we're using right now, or even Facebook? What are your suggestions there to other than Twitter?
It's a secret, but it works also in real life.
Oh, true. That's a good point.
It's basic relationships, and just because it's over a computer, I think people forget. It's not B2B or B2C. It's P2P.
Sorry.
You're right. People to people, right? Yeah, definitely.
People, and it's. And somebody would say, well, my customers aren't on Twitter or something else. It's like, well, no, they are.
They just aren't your customer yet.
Not yet. And if you look at the power of these things, and the same rules apply whether you're dating on Twitter or Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it is. It's still about building connections, understanding that everybody has a primary need to be validated, heard, and understood. So if we look at first, using these go-giver philosophies, is look at how can I serve you, how can I help you first, and look at it not so much as, okay, what can I get, but what can I give to other people, and
right.
if you make that a focus and you work on giving as much as you can give, and not for the sake of getting something, but knowing, this is important, knowing that something else is coming to you. I think Bob calls it the law of left field, where things will come from unexpected places and unexpected time and unexpected people. If you just plant enough seeds, some of them will start blossoming for you.
If we could talk about planting seeds, there's a lot of discussion is, yes, people to people build relationships. However, a lot of people are busy. So what is your feel or your take on automating some of the tasks that you need to do to publish some of the tweets or publish some of the Facebook updates? Because you hear conflicting information from people. Some say, well, it doesn't make you look real. But the other thing is everybody's on social media at a different time. So I think there are certain platforms, and there is a need to automate some of that.
Well, it's one of the things that it's not an either or, it's an and. You blend the leverage of technology to be able to go through there. When I first started, and it still is a little hard for me to be able to press the enter button when I'm promoting something. Right. I have a little anxiety about going out there and doing that self-promotion. So for me to be able to load my blog posts and my radio interviews and all of those other things that I would hope people would click on, for me to automate that takes away that anxiety for me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And it's important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing, especially for a lot of new entrepreneurs. I've worked with a lot of healing arts people, so they have that reluctance to be able to do some of those things. But you also want to be able to look at it. One of the clients that I worked with, because I also automate several clients' accounts, and she saved over 30 hours a month when we automated her account. She was looking for her tweets, compiling her tweets, writing her tweets, scheduling them up so they would be able to be spread out during the day. And she figured there was about 30 hours a month that she was doing that and compiling all that information.
Wow.
When we gathered all of that up and we automated that for her, and we got it going out where she's sending out 20 messages a day, she was able to take that 30 hours a month and then be able to invest that back into Twitter to engage and talk with people, and be able to look at their sites, to be able to find out what's going on with them. And she wound up getting graphic arts business, editing business for her things. She also created a friendship with a singer who she wound up actually meeting because she went up to be able to meet her brother in New York. And this singer that she met on Twitter was performing in a small town just 5 minutes away from where they were staying.
Wow.
So, you know,
That's cool.
But, you know, that's the combination of it. And what I teach in my Twitter classes is, you know, there's a lot of things that you can be able to do to be able to leverage things. When you first get on Twitter, it's overwhelming, and you can't catch up with everything. And people try to be able to do that. They try to see everything that's going on, and you don't want to know that. It's like being in a stadium full of people. You got 50,000 people and 20,000 different conversations going on.
Right.
You're not interested in all of those. So we teach them how to be able to utilize lists and utilize the searches to find the topics that they want to be able to add to the conversation, listen into, and be able to do that. And when you're able to do that and segment those lists, and then you can just scan a list for things that, you know, that saved another client over 20 hours a month just realizing how to be able to create the list so they could find the conversations instead of getting muddled down into all of the sand that's out there.
Well, that's what I've seen a lot of. And so basically, to recap what you just said, is if you do believe in scheduling, you do believe in if you take care of that ahead of time, then you end up with not having to concern yourself so much about what you're going to say, but more concerning yourself with the connections and building the rapport and the connections afterward.
Yep, and yes, exactly. And what I shared with the young lady in the suicide. So my Just for Today affirmations, my Twitter tips, a lot of those other things are, again, there's automated. And again, I'm going to expand my schedule because now with over 116,000 people on my main account, I've got people all over the world. And so when I realized that there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, voyeurs. There are people who are watching what you're doing, what you're saying. They may never do business with you, but they're watching what you're doing. And if we start expanding our presence and we start having people in the UK and Africa and Australia and India who are all watching our stuff, why don't, you know, I figured out, why am I not scheduling things to be able to go out there to make it easier for them to be able to see some new content and be able to broadcast when they're going to be able to see it, and thus expanding my reach and my market. You know, people will get my ebooks, they may take my classes, we may create partnerships in some other way, and it's just like the world's just opened up.
It's great information.
You know, I love, you know, Twitter too. One of the things that I really like is the tweet chat or the hashtag where we're following for events. And if you have a Twitter hashtag or a hashtag for an event, and you do that before the event, and I've had a lot of success with connecting people that I hadn't known before, and then I'd hop on Twitter and we'd introduce each other because of we're going to an event. It's so much fun. It's like seeing an old friend when you're in a live, you know, stadium or at the hotel, or here you connect with them before, and so just gets that kickstart to an event. I just think it's a great way to build camaraderie if you're hosting an event.
It is, and there's so much, but I know that, again, with Extreme Business Makeover, the third year, that's when they really started embracing Twitter, and they started using the hashtag XBM. And so they started doing some the promo for it, and so there was a lot of other connection. And this was actually really amazing because, again, internal rewards. I'm not one of those people who will go around the room and pump hands and slap backs and kiss babies. I'm not one of those really forward networking people.
Yeah.
I have more of a tendency to be able to go find a strategic place where I can be able to be seen and allow people to flow to me. What happened, because I got involved in that hashtag XBM conversation before the event, and I was there for the other two events, the two previous ones, 3/4 of the people in that room all came up to me because I was on Twitter, and they had a connection.
Yep.
And it was amazing about some of the stature of the people that I connected with, and I didn't realize their stature. It's just like, okay, it was just Lisa, it was just Felicia, it was just Rebel, it was just these people that I was talking to. I had no idea about their experience or anything else. It was just that P2P again, and so hashtags for events like that are essential, and that hashtag for that event lasted probably a couple years past the event's life.
That's cool.
It is. That's amazing. But you kind of brought it to the P2P, like you said. You brought it off of Twitter and brought it live, which is, even an extra connection, which is incredible. But they came to you because you were connecting and conversating before this even happened, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what would you say other than, I think you've kind of answered this, but I do want to reiterate it because I believe you've answered it, but I'm going to have you re-answer it. What is going to make you, what do you think it is? What would be a magic key you could tell our audience that would, nothing's magic in social media, but tell our audience what would make them stand out the most? What is going to make them unique in the social media world?
Probably, well, what's great about social media, and especially as Twitter, and if you go back and look at some of the interviews with the Twitter founders, they founded Twitter to be a virtual town square. So it's anything for anybody. So people can be able to come in and you can be able to sell your jelly, sell your sweaters, sell your rugs, sing a song, talk of politics, whatever it is. And so there are a lot of different things that work for a lot of different people. But I think that part we talked about is that differentiation. Is what is it about you that drives you, that motivates you, that helps the conversations? One of my friends, Felicia Slatterly, is a speech and communication coach. So she shares a lot of things about how to get your signature speech together and a lot of things about those presentations. A couple of years ago, she had a bout with lung cancer, never smoked, had anything else, and she wound up tracing that back to a gluten reaction.
Wow.
So she started talking about her whole episode with the whole diagnosis, going through the treatment, all these other things, talking about gluten and looking at healthier lifestyles. So it's really, that's just an example. What are you passionate about? What else it is about you that makes you stand out, that makes your friends find you fascinating? Integrate that into your stuff. One of the other social media tools that I use, I see a lot of people's different profiles, and they just become news feeds. They got RSS feeds in, and there's no personal engagement. There's no talking. Say, go look at my page and retweet something. And go, well, there's nothing here. There's nothing here that I can be able to go grab that in a sense is like, all right, I want to be able to introduce my audience to Lisa and Janet. So here's a little thing. Here's a little quote. Here's something she personally said. So go take a look at it and allow them to be able to go find your stuff. And I think that if people really look at coming from service, helping other people, if you put that as a primary thing, you'll attract more. This is another lesson. One of the advanced things that we teach in our Twitterverse Flight School is look at how you write your tweets. And keep in mind that anytime that anybody reads your stuff, there are two subconscious thoughts that run through their mind. It's either tell me more or so what.
Yep,
and,
that's true.
And when you look at other people's social media streams, how many times are you saying so what?
So what?
Yeah.
I just posted this. I did this. I did that. So what? Realizing that other people are looking at your stuff because they've got problems and they're looking for solutions. So if you write your posts in a way that answers their questions and solves their problems, they're enticed then to be able to click on, to be able to go find out what you can do for them.
That's true.
So let's finish up and that could have been the tip, but let's give another one because you're full of a lot of tips. So let's give one thing to our audience that they can take action on in the next 24 hours that can make a difference in their Twitter feed, let's say.
Well, one of the things I think, all right, profile. Profile is probably the most valuable real estate on Twitter. It's like anytime that you go to any website, again, there's a subconscious thing that people are going to go onto a site and they got 4 to 10 seconds to be able to tell me who you are, what you do, what can you do for me, and why what am I supposed to do next? And if you don't have a current picture, head and shoulders, smiling, something that people would identify you in a grocery store, and they will have that connection. If you don't have that, a glamour shot from 20 years ago, your kids, or a cartoon, again, we're P2P. People want to be able to connect with people.
Right.
Your profile, there's 160 characters in your profile. Again, what separates Twitter from the other social media sites is each of your tweets, your profile, is search engine optimized. So each word in your profile should be the same keywords you're using on your website. So when people is going to be able to do a web search, what are they looking for? You're looking for a Twitter expert? I got Twitter expert on my profile. You're looking for a mindset coach? You're looking for life, those other things. Look at having those keywords in your profile so people can be able to find you through Google or Bing searches, or Twitter search is absolutely incredible to be able to do that. And if you make that connection, take out a lot of the superfluous words, I like to, or I work with, and you got 160 characters. Jam it full of those action words that people want to be able to connect with.
Good idea. That's a great tip.
I'm heading to Twitter right after this.
I know, I have to update things.
Every time we interview, it's like, oh boy, what's mine look like? I haven't done it.
Well, and it's you want to tell a story, in 160 characters, and it's a little difficult. But when you think about it in action words, and you think about what keywords people are looking for help, I guess that you just got to get over it so that you show up.
And there's another thing, is then you can also incorporate those keywords into your profile and feed those into your tweets.
Yes, definitely.
And so, if you integrate that into your tweets, again, that just increases your searchability so people can find you.
Makes sense, absolutely. Oh my gosh! Well, we are going to have you on so you can meet Kimmy again, because we didn't even get into half of the information we wanted to talk about. But we'd like to keep it around a half-hour mark, up to 45 minutes. So let's have Lisa go ahead and finish up so we can talk about where to find Gary and stuff.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, we just wanted to say thanks for coming to our show today, Gary. And, if you could share with us a little bit about how can people get in touch with you, or where would you like them to connect, that would be awesome.
Well, the obvious place is to go to Twitter, @GaryLoper, GaryLoper. Just drop a note, say hello, let me know that you saw us here, Social Media Hangout Time. Would like to be able to connect. My website is GaryLoper.com. You can read a lot of blogs. We do a lot of things on Twitter. A lot of my other guest appearances are also listed there. But also, people, well, there at GaryLoper.com, in the center column, you'll be able to see the links to my 3 ebooks that we talked about in the introduction. And so you can be able to check those out and get access to those and see how we can be able to help you build better relationships both online and offline.
Excellent. Well, we'll definitely connect with you. And thank you so much, Gary, for your time and all your inspiration.
Excellent. Janet, Lisa, thank you very much, and happy tweeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.